Morning. Morning. That's all I needed.
Steve, some good news for the club. You have this morning announced the contract extension of John Joe and Matt. How happy are you to?
Yeah, delighted. I mean, they've both tied themselves up for another till 23, is it? They've been very, very good over the last few years for Newcastle, and I've been lucky enough to inherit the two of them. So thankfully there's been a really good conclusion about it. They've both, as I said, been here probably nearly 4 years now, and big makeup of the team has been them two. So we're delighted that they've committed to their future, which is good to see.
Yeah, I was going to say, out with their abilities, what do they bring to the squad and the training?
Well, as I've said many times to everybody, that the nucleus of the team got out the championship and still playing well today is still here, the core group of them, and these two have been instrumental in it. We all know what Richie's like, the way he is. There's never a dull day, and John Jones, his day, we all know he's a very, very talented footballer. So I'm delighted that they've committed their future. Let's hope now we can get 2 or 3 others done as well.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you that. That's
I knew you were coming to that.
Yeah. Could you move on to one or both?
Well, they're both. They're talking with the club still. We still hope there's a positive outcome. So let's hope that can get resolved as well.
And what about the other two that are out of contract in the summer, Fernandez and Darlow? Could anything happen?
We're hoping that we can sit down with them. I think Feddy's got an option anyway of another year, and he's been terrific. I gave him a rest the other night. But so over the next few weeks we'll address what we have to address and sit down with the different individuals. And of course we need to find out, and get a couple of results quickly. Yeah. Because that's easier for everybody concerned if we know we're going to be next year.
You said on Monday before the West Brom game that a victory there, taking you to the last 4, could give the players a boost, and yourself a boost.
Well, I thought we played really, really well for an hour anyway. We got a bit sloppy, and we got a bit, we took our foot off the gas and thought it was a little bit too easy, which was a bit concerning. But for large parts of it and a large parts of the Burnley game, I was very pleased. We looked more of a threat. To score 3 away from home is never easy, especially against a good team like West Brom. So I hope it gives everybody a lift. They seem to be enjoying playing a little bit higher up the pitch, which is good, and let's hope we can carry it on tomorrow.
Without giving too much away, can we expect to see you stick to that now for the rest of the season?
Well, maybe. I think it's vitally important that we can have 1 or 2 formations that you can slip into. How often do we see, especially the big teams now, the change? And but so I think it's important that we can have different formations, so the players know they're comfortable with it. And I think that was vitally important, that we did a lot of work, and because they'd played a certain way for a long time. And so it's been a decent week. Let's hope we can top it off now by getting a result down at Southampton.
And of course you've got no goals in the last 4 league games, but the boys up top showed that they can do it on Tuesday.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think that's why we have changed with playing a back 4. We've got an extra body up the top end of the pitch, so that was the reasoning for it. We had 20 odd attempts against Burnley, didn't take one, but we've had more chances and created more opportunities. I think that was the change in what we were trying. So we hope so. We hope we can take it in tomorrow. But the other night we looked a threat in the first half. Some of the football we played was far more like it.
Injury wise, how's Alan and his hamstring?
Alan is okay. He seemed bright yesterday. We think he's going to be okay. I think that goes for them all. Manquillo was sore yesterday. We'll see how he is, but touch wood, everybody's come through as long as they get through today.
I've got a couple more to ask you, just a little bit off topic. We spoke about the coronavirus last week, and you as a club have kind of led the way by banning the handshakes.
By the way, that was the doctor. The doctor, and I think it's very, very quickly now become very apparent to everybody that it's here now in the northeast, and I think everybody, whether you're part of a football team or what you are, we've got to take the precautions that everybody has to take, and well, like everybody else, we'll be governed by what the medical people say, and as I've said here, the doctor here is very, very good, and we'll listen to what advice he takes, and we'll go by that.
I suppose you as a club then are pleased that the Premier League have followed suit and that won't be happening, but can I ask what will happen for you as manager at the end of the match tomorrow? Will you shake hands with Ralph?
Wow, I've never thought of that. Will you touch elbows? Yeah, it's pretty serious stuff, isn't it? And look, I think we're approaching the difficult time, because it's just about to, in our country, I suppose. We'll all be deemed with whatever. We'll shake hands, touch elbows, whatever. I haven't decided yet.
Also, another question we're asking all managers today. I know you've had enough on your plate this week, but you'll be aware of the incident with Eric Dyer at Spurs the other night. Watching on, what did you make? Well,
I think, look, we all get, there's times when we all do things what we'll probably regret, and I'm sure Eric at this particular moment is regretting it. I can understand that people are hurling abuse or whatever's happening. We don't know the full facts, but I think when he looks back on it now and thinks, what have I done? One of them moments where, a bit like me in a press conference the other day, you're not pleased with yourself. So, but I can understand sometimes that when the red mist comes down, but I'm sure you'll regret it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. How have things been since the other day? Because that's kind of the first.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, it's gone. It's finished. Yeah. It's finished. It's over with. I don't really want to comment anymore with it. It's, as far as I'm concerned, it's history.
Yeah. Just last one on the Eric Dyer situation. Can you understand why some players can react to abuse, whether it's to them or their families? I mean, you've had your fair share this season.
I've had my fair share for 30 years, I think. I can understand it when people are personal and it does become abusive then, and they've obviously come off the back of a bad result too, then emotions are running high, and he's lost it for that whatever reason he has. So, but I'm sure in the cold light today he'll look back on it and think, I can't be doing that. And but these things happen.
Thank you, Steve.
Cheers.
Steve, just back on the football, Keith mentioned it, there's no goals in 4 league games. I know it was against West Brom, but was it getting to a stage where you just wanted goals against any opposition, no matter who it was?
Well, I think that's why we looked at changing. We were, up until 3, 4, 5 games ago, we were looking a threat on the counter-attack. I think that waned over the past few weeks. And we found it very, very difficult to sustain anything at the top end of the pitch. Hence, that's why we've changed. We've gone from 4 at the back and put an extra body up the top end of the pitch. Paid Miggy in his best position for me, which is probably off the front. And in the last 2 games in particular, Almiron has looked a really, really good player. It's brought him back to life again. So I hope that continues.
Just on Miggy, obviously it's made him top scorer for the season. Does that give his mentality just that little bit more of an edge going into this final run?
Well, I hope so. I mean, he took his goals brilliantly well the other day. It took him a long time to get off and run, but you cannot deny the kid's a very, very good player who is a manager's dream. He trains every day, plays every day, physically running statistic-wise. Every statistic he wins, whether it's training or in a match. He's one of them delights to manage. He's never any problem. Trains and plays with a smile on his face, and you want people like that to do well. And he's arguably our best player. So I think it was important that he plays in his position, and I think he's played to a side to help the team and the balance of the team. But we've certainly seen the best of him over the last couple of matches. I think Almiron has been our best player.
Just on that formation change, I know you tried it out earlier on the season. Fast forward a few months.
I think we were unfortunate. I think, well, look, we'll be judged on results on that. Yeah. We were unfortunate. We changed at Leicester. We were down to 10 men after just before half time, so it was difficult to judge it. And not until maybe half time, there was nothing in it. But it's still detected then the players were more comfortable rather than change. And let's be fair, we got some good results with it. So, when things are going okay, and people are comfortable, then you're reluctant to change. But I do believe it's important that you have one or two formations up our sleeve. And now, if we were back to a back three or back five, whatever you want to call it, then, or we play a four, we're comfortable in both.
Just a final one on Tuesday. We've got to have a word about the fans. 5,000 of them down at the Hall of Thorns. You see the smoke, you see the inflatables. What's going through your mind as a manager when you see that?
I'm not going to comment on the inflatables, but I think I knew and understood how important it is for them to maybe, since I walked through the door, to have a cup run or be involved in it. How great was it to be in the last 8? Couldn't have pulled out a more tougher opposition, but how great was it to be in the hat for the last 8 for a quarter final? And we've got probably the hardest tie, even though we're at home. But let's look forward to it. Let's look forward to the occasion, and who knows? It's the cup, so let's try and enjoy it.
It's a good way to describe it, an occasion. Is that what it's going to be at St James's Park? Whether it's play on the Friday night, Saturday afternoon?
Yep.
It's obviously the holders' favourites.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be pretty special. It'll be full to the rafters. And I said, we couldn't have wished for more difficult opponents with arguably playing against one of the best teams in Europe. So, but it's the FA Cup, and that's the beauty of it. And we'll try our best and see if we can get to a semi-final at Wembley.
Just a couple of final ones. Looking into Southampton this week, and huge game like you mentioned. Do Newcastle find themselves in a relegation battle, do you see?
I think the bottom half of the division, we're all still looking over your shoulder. Of course we are. But we've got 10 games, we've got a nice platform, we've got a decent points total. All of us will be looking to get to the magic points, is what I've always said all along. Usually 36 has been enough in the last 10 years. I don't think that's going to be enough. But so whatever the figure is, we've got to get to it pretty quickly. And the quicker you get there, like Burnley, 1-2 in a week, and all of a sudden they're out of it. And that's what we're all hoping for at the bottom end of the table.
I suppose Southampton, another prime example of that. 2 months ago, they looked in real trouble.
Had a good run.
Hasn't
he? Yeah, had a really good run. Had a really good run of late, and then I had another couple of decent, difficult results. When you go down there, it's always going to be difficult, but we're quietly confident that we can go and take something from the game.
How much threat finally do they have, Steve?
Big threat.
Iffy home form, but
yeah, but look, if you've got a centre forward who's got 15 goals, which he has, then they're a threat. And I also know Longy from a long time ago too, so they're a threat. I think Aguero's the top goal scorer. He was 17. Is he in the Premier? Aubameyang 17, and then you've got Danny Ings in a team that's been in the bottom half of the division. It's quite a remarkable tally. So fair play to him. He's a threat. He's playing right at the height of his talent. So we'll have to guard against him. That's for sure.
Thanks, Steve.
Steve, do you look a bit enviously at those teams that do have a sort of 15-20 goal a season striker, perhaps at the bottom half of the table?
Well, that's what we're all striving for. We all hope that we could, get maybe one who gets. You don't get many now getting a 20 like they used to, or a Shearer who gets 30 or 40. I mean, it's quite remarkable. If a striker now gets probably a dozen, 15, then they've done remarkably well, and that's how difficult the Premier League is. Even when you look with 10 games to go, what is it? Aubameyang 17, is it? Aguero 17. These are superstars. And then you've got somebody like Danny Ings who's had a remarkable season and recovered from what looked like serious injury for him. And fair play to him. I seen an interview with him where he didn't have any time off last summer and went to work on his injury. And I'm pleased for him. I hope it doesn't keep on tomorrow, but he's done fantastically well, and yeah, you all hope for one of them.
Obviously, Premier League defences are among the toughest, but when you get Almiron finishing like he did the other night, and do you think there could be a psychological element when you're up against Premier League defence?
Well, I don't think it's psychological. It's the fact that you don't. I mean, we had 2 chances maybe before we scored the other night, but you don't get chance after chance after chance in the Premier League. There lies the difference. Teams have got centre-backs who are as big and quick and as strong as what centre-forwards are these days. So you don't create bundles and bundles of champions where you might do in the Championship. So I think there lies the difference. That's the difficulty. And that's why these lads who can score, can create, that's why they're all at 60s and 70s and 80 millions and 100 millions or wherever they are now these days. So how difficult it is to find somebody who can get you them goals.
Hasenhüttl, Andy alluded to it. I mean, he had to weather quite a storm, but they did go on a few weeks ago. That decent run that got them out of trouble. I mean, I suppose that speaks volumes about his ability.
Yeah, I think once he's been here, he's done very well in the Premier League. You know, he comes with a big reputation, and of course, when you're up against it, as managers, you hope that they pull through and they get a couple of results that we want, because we all understand what happens if you don't. That's how brutal it is. Fair play to him, you know, to react, changed formation, changed system a little bit, and got a reaction which is there for everybody to see. I was pleased for him.
The Longstaff brothers both won awards down the Civic Centre last night, and clearly, if you could tie one or both to long-term contracts, that's a real role model for the lads coming through the academy.
Well, Sean has got something like 2 years left, so there's no big rush in that respect. Obviously, Matty, we all know what I think of Matty. I've been the one who gave him his debut. We're hoping that we can get something sorted with him. So we've still got a few weeks and months, but the players now, when they're running out of contract, it's on their toes too. So let's hope he sees fit that he wants to stay with us, and we'll try our utmost.
But apart from his and their talent, is it also the fact that the kids in the academy can see that path?
Well, I think that's very important for any club. If you've got an academy, you've got to have a way through, and there's nothing better than blooding a young player. I mean, we'll never forget Matty's debut. I mean, what a debut. I mean, he scored 2 Premier League goals, and they're both against Man U. So we all know what I think of him, and the pathway through is vitally important, and that shows who's the next one and who can you bring through, because let's be fair, we invest millions on the academy, especially a club like Newcastle, to try and bring somebody through, and there's nothing quite like bringing your own through, especially here in this city. And at the moment we've got 4. If you look at Andy Carroll coming through, Paul Dummett and the 2 Longstaffs, the challenge is who's the next one, and we've got 1 or 2 bits of talent down there, so let's hope we can keep finding them.
Finally from me, could you put a number on what the safety target might be this season?
I wouldn't like to, just in case it backfires, but I've got an idea, but who knows, we'll just have to get to it. I mean, as I said, 36 has been enough in the last 10 years, don't think that's going to be enough. So we've got 32 with 10 games to play. So I'll let you guess.
Chris. Steve, we saw some comments from Everton this week about the fact that there is this belief now amongst the Premier League that at some point there will be games played behind closed doors because of coronavirus. What do you make of that? What will it be like as a manager?
Well, it's hard to imagine, isn't it? But obviously they're doing it now in Italy, and it's something we're probably going to face. So look, we all know football is a way out for everybody, but people's lives are at stake, and I think we've got to go by the authorities. But it looks pretty inevitable that could be on the cards.
It's interesting. Sunderland, talking to Phil Parkinson earlier this week, he was saying that the club have sort of told the players, we don't want you to travel abroad. Is that something this club would consider saying to the players? Well,
they've got international games coming up. What do you do? What do you do with them? They'll be governed, I'm sure, by their respective bodies. But it's a difficult one, as I said. In 2 weeks' time, we've got 10, 12, 15 of them probably going away on international duty. So we'll see. We'll be governed by everybody else, and we'll have to make them decisions when the time comes.
I think Phil was more meaning the players that were not going away to play, but wanted to use the break to have a short holiday.
Yeah. Well, it's something that we look at. I mean, you can't be travelling to some of them anyway. So yeah, it'll be something we will look at too.
Thanks, chaps.
Thanks, chaps. Thank you. Cheers.
And that concludes the Life and Times of Steve Bruce.